is a big one. Smart risk taking. I think Disney, also storytelling, right? I mean, people don't buy products and services, they're buying experiences, they're buying stories. So I suppose one example might be, especially here comes Generation Z, right? They're definitely not buying products and services, they're buying experiences. And I think as employers as well, we think about what experience we give our employees. We think that Generation Z is driven the same way we are in terms of by quarterly results. They're not, they're driven by purpose. And so I think experience is really important. And Disney is the master of experience. If I were to ask you how much you would give me for this bottle of Coca-Cola, you might say, I'll give you $1.50, right? However, if I were to tell you it was from Hoth or Naboo or Tatooine, well, then you're going to give me $10.50. What did I just do? I just created an experience. Walt was the master of experiences. He said experience first, retail second. If I were to ask you to name some of the most successful retail shopping malls on the planet today, you would not think to mention Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Disneyland Paris, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Tokyo. Well, they are. Why? Because Walt put experience first. And so when you see that today, when you go to any of the Disney theme parks, I mean, it's all about an experience first, right? And so I think for a lot of us, the opportunity coming up is going to be an augmented reality, because we're going to be able to create amazing immersive experiences inside physical assets without spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a capital investment strategy. If you want it to snow in your store 24 months from now and everybody's wearing the AR glasses and mixed reality glasses, you'll be able to. I think the other thing that Disney does really well is mass customization and personalization at scale. And I think, again, AR with mixed reality, those glasses, and now AI on top, that, you're walking down a shopping mall 2 years from now, you've got your glasses on, you were looking for a blouse in Zara in a size 8 with the pink roses on it, and Zara knows you're coming. They send you an alert to your lens which says, hey, we got this blouse in stock, and click once to pick it up at the cash register, click twice, we'll send it to your house, click 3 times, and we'll customize it for you. And so I think it's the ability to tell stories and create experiences is probably what Disney does best. To give people the tools to do the job. Here's the challenge, right? We ask people, oh, you must innovate, you must think differently, you must be brave, we must think differently. And then all our employees sit there and go, how? Well, we're not showing them how. Why is a soldier braver with a gun than a soldier without a gun? Because they're given the tools to do the job. And so all I've done is taken the principles from design thinking and Apple and IDEO and my time at Disney and created a toolkit which has 3 principles. Takes the BS out of innovation and makes it accessible to normal people and less intimidating. Makes creativity tangible for the people who hate ambiguity and grey, and there's lots of them. But far more important, it makes it fun. I give people tools they choose to use when I'm not around, when the boss isn't around. That's when you know you're changing a culture. And I think, we train our lawyers, right? They go to law school, we train our IT team, we train our sales team, and then we tell people go innovate. That's not very useful. I think it's about giving people the tools to do the job. Experience we have, the more expertise we have, the more reasons we know why the new idea won't work. So we constantly shoot, well, we tried that last year. That's not the way we do things here. That won't. So we don't even give it a chance. We don't nurture the idea. And so it's about getting you out of what I call your river of thinking. The more expertise, the more experience we have, the deeper, the faster, and the wider is our river of thinking in the industry in which we work. My job is to get you out of that river and to give you some different tools to help you think laterally and come up with new ideas. Ready yet. So here's the thing, right? Because Apple had touchscreen technology before they gave it to you or me, but we weren't ready for it. So they said, here, give them an iPod, let them go play with it for a couple of years. Quite smart. And so the metaverse, the technology isn't there yet. Is it coming? Yes, of course it's coming. Which industry is investing more online than anybody else? The porn industry. You may not like to hear it, but it's true. They know they need touch. We say it's not as good as live. No, it isn't yet. Will it be? Yes, of course it will. But I think AR is going to come in the way first, and then I think the metaverse will follow. Why do I think? You've got technology, which is getting better and better and better and better. So, for example, spatial, if you haven't tried it, I do 20% of my workshops in a VR headset, right? One of these little suckers. But, this reminds me of the brick phone. But it's going to be a pair of glasses within 2 years from today. I did a workshop recently with a woman from South Africa who's in her room in South Africa. I'm in Orlando, Florida. She hands me her virtual pen with her virtual hand that didn't exist. I took her virtual pen out of her virtual hand with my virtual hand, wrote on a virtual post-it note in virtual ink, and handed her back. the pen. So tech's coming this way. Then we got carbon emissions, and we're not watching that enough. Do I think, here's a mad prediction, do I think Wall Street will be around 20 years from now? No, I don't. So it's not even 100 years old yet. So why don't I? Because I think your carbon footprint will be more important than your share price within less than 20 years from today. And that will threaten Wall Street. And then you've got our own behavior. 2 years ago, we used to go to supermarkets. Instacart in America comes to me. I used to go to restaurants. Uber Eats in America comes to me. The movie theatre, Netflix comes to all of us. Zoom comes to all of us. Don't go to the offices. Gyms, no, it's virtual peloton. So you've got tech, you've got carbon emissions, you've got our own behaviour, but then behind that, the other thing to watch, which we prefer to look the other way and stick our head in the sand, which probably isn't too helpful, is the pandemics. Since 2005, we've had 5. That's one every 3 years. Ebola, bird flu, H1N1, SARS, and COVID. Think we're not having another one 3 to 5 years from now? You're nuts. Of course we are. Is it regional or global? I don't know. But we will continue to increase our pace into a virtual world. So yes, it's coming. You've got kids, you've got grandkids, give it a go. Go in and play in the metaverse. I think that's the only way. It's got so good now that the handsets that we were using less than 2 years ago, I don't need the handset anymore, right? And so go in and play a virtual lightsaber game. This is a real lightsaber. Just in Lucasfilms, but in a virtual, just get in there and play with it. I think people are just intimidated by it. Start in Virbela, virbela.com. It's a little virtual world. You can create your own virtual avatar. You can go in. There's no barrier to entry. You don't need a headset, but you can see it's got cocktail bars. It's got football pitches. It's got offices. It's got meeting rooms. And it's very cool. You can meet people from around the world in it as well. But then the next step is in the VR space, and I think spatial in particular is a good place to start. I think you just got to get in and give it a go, right? I mean, up until COVID, I hadn't been in a VR headset. But on March 15th, 2020, I flew into Copenhagen. The Danish Prime Minister said, no more live events. So I spoke to 3,000 empty chairs and a camera. That was a bit weird. So I came back here. You can't see this, but this is what was a 4th bedroom. It's a full virtual studio. I'd say, and then during COVID, was it 2021? I did 271 virtual events out of this room. I can speak in 37 different languages simultaneously through an AI robot. And as I mentioned, I can work directly with people in the same room. And so I think it's a question of just don't be afraid, just get the headset and give it a go. AI and 3D printing, the two, they're just going to revolutionize everything. And the metaverse, I mean, it's just going to change everything, right? It's so exciting. So if you want to go really far out, you know, when I was a kid, I used to remember everybody's phone numbers. We all did. And then along comes the iPhone, and we realized that our brain is a hard disk. So we can free up a bit of space on our brain because this remembers the phone numbers for us. So we're capable of more thoughts. Well, then along comes a guy called Elon Musk, sticks a Neuralink in a pig's brain 2 years ago, and we all laughed. Do you really think in 20 years from now, you're going to carry a physical object alongside you? No, they're called wearables. Will they be contact lenses? Will it be a microchip? I don't know, but it'll be inserted into us. Now I'm going to know every painting I've ever seen, every meeting I've ever been into, every person I've ever met. And so that's going to open up even more of my hard disk. We will be capable of infinitable thought. And then if you think about where tech comes in, I'm not frightened of AI because I've spoken to somebody who's creating the DeepMind for Google, and I've asked her, what do you believe will be the most employable skill sets the next decade? And she says the ones that would be the hardest to program into AI, and then ask people what they are, ask her what they are. The ones with which we're born: imagination, creativity, intuition, empathy. Those will be the hardest to program. But I think that AI, for example, and ChatGPT, just out of pure curiosity, I was asked by Ad Age to write an article about how I think AI will enable marketing. And I thought, okay, not my area of expertise. So I went to ChatGPT and said, hey, give me an article on 3,500 words on how AI will, boom, 60 seconds later, there it was. Am I going to use it? No, because it would be unethical to do it. But it's like, this is going to, again, we will be capable of infinite thought because that work is going to be done for us by robots. That's the exciting piece. Then 3D printing. Today it's ugly, it's not particularly pretty, but it's going to get better and better and better. We're printing houses in Houston, Texas today for the price of an iPhone in less than 5 days. What would that mean for homeless communities? So I was speaking to the mortgage industry recently, and I said, well, what if nobody needs a mortgage 30 years from now? They're like, don't be stupid. I'm like, well, if a house costs $600, So we're not thinking like that. And so it is about getting people, just because it's worked for the last 100 years, people does not, nobody's going back to business as usual. We're all going back to business as unusual. So I think AI, super exciting. 3D printing is just going to be phenomenal. But augmented reality in the short term, I think, is going to be super exciting because, for example, let's say I'm visiting a Disney park today. I've come in from Brazil. My daughter's favorite character is Cinderella, but I can't, she's a 2-hour wait. I can't wait 2 hours. And even if I did, Cinderella doesn't speak Portuguese. Well, no, in an AR world with the glasses, Cinderella will come to me at my time frame and speak in the language I want. You don't think Disney's already probably talking to McDonald's about having AR characters pop up in your living room in your language of choice saying happy birthday to your child? Of course they are. But what will we be able to do? I don't think it's in the UK, but there's a wine called 19 Crimes. It's red wine. You hold your phone up to the label today and somebody comes bursting out of the label and starts talking to you, like Harry Potter. A very rudimentary entry into augmented reality. But again, the ability to create fully immersive experiences on planes, in movie theatres, in shopping malls, in soccer stadiums. So I don't know if you know, Manchester City already building a stadium in the Etihad in the Metaverse. And here's, the next piece is, right, I know I'm going to offend half the people on this call now, probably more when I say I'm a Chelsea fan. But I'm a Chelsea fan, hey, but be fair, right? I went to the Chelsea games in the 60s and 70s. We didn't win anything from 1970 to 1997, so I am a fan. However, I can't go to a Chelsea game today, but you know what? In 3 years, right, with augmented reality, my mixed reality glasses, I'll be able to sit in my living room. Chelsea will charge me $1. I'll sit on the back row at Stamford Bridge. I'll pay $5. I'll sit on the halfway line. I'll pay $10. I'll sit right on the bench next to the players. Is it 3 years away? Is it 5 years away? I don't know, but it's coming, and I'm super excited about it.